Alright, just confirming and letting y'all know, Warmane does have reduced drop rates for Shadowfrost shards. You will be taking at least a year to farm for Shadowmourne on this private server, so I highly recommend that you just buy your Shadowmourne instead of farming for it, because playing legitimately on Warmane is discouraged over actually paying for it. And if you play on Lordaeron, you might just want to buy a character instead of farming for it, because even in 12 out of 12 8 heroic guild, when I was farming for that shit, it took me a year to farm for Shadowmourne. The shard drop rates are probably 5% for normal, 10% for heroic, and that's if you're lucky. Also, the Lich King doesn't have a guaranteed shard drop from my experiences. I've seen many times where the Lich King doesn't drop a Shadowfrost shard. So you can say, oh, you'll be guaranteed 50 runs and you'll have it. So it only takes a year at most. That's not true. That's not true, because you might even take longer than a year if you get unlucky. Now let's run to this and see. Shadowfrost drop rate on Lordaeron. This is the server that's not pay to win. I say Shadowfrost shards have a significantly reduced drop rate on Warmane to increase Shadowmourne sales on Icecrown. This makes sense from a business perspective, but on Lordaeron, there is nothing to gain having reduced drop rates, and it actually is off-putting for players. How it should work: Shadowfrost drop rates on Lordaeron should be 25% to 50% of their normal rates, and 51 to 99% of their normal rates on Heroic. The reduced rates only should be applied to Icecrown, not Lordaeron, as there is no shop to generate revenue for Warmane. And then I essentially get told to fuck off by Blue AO here. It's it isn't that far off. It isn't that far away from what you state, and you also forget that we won't be switching to Cataclysm in a couple of months like retail did, which isn't true, because retail, uh, let's see, uh, ICC release original date. Cataclysm original date. So we've got a timeline of December 8th, 2009 from the original ICC release to December 7th, 2010. So you had an entire year of doing Ice Crown Citadel in retail. And so if you factor that in, at 25 to 50% and 51 to 80%, or I mean to 100%. So most of the time you're getting, I'd say, like 8 to 10 shards a run, maybe. So, like, on average, let's say eight shards, 50 divided by 8.5. It takes you less than 6 weeks to farm for Shadowmourne for the shard drop chance, right? And this isn't even talking about the fact that you need to wait in line to get the bloods. This isn't talking about the fact that you need to farm 25 primordial serenites for it. This isn't talking about the fact that you need to farm 1,000 souls instead of 100 or reduced amount. So 1,000 souls on average is going to take you a few weeks of ICC, maybe some reputation farming too. That's no easy feat. The 5,000, the 1,000 souls farm is actually takes quite a while, especially with the Warmane coding being so buggy. So where you hit the enemies with like a whole bunch of skills and they don't actually apply the debuff, and you have to actually auto attack them. So if you're just mindlessly doing ICC and you're not actively trying to farm the souls will take you longer. And then you need to do your 3 infusion quests from raid leaders that allow you, and in raids that allow you. And on Lordaeron, obviously, the raids are harder, they're more difficult. So if you're not in a guild that can provide you for the infusion quest, it's going to take you a long ass time just to be able to collect the shards, let alone the fact that now you have to take over a year to farm the shards. You're looking at 2 years to get your Shadowmourne on Lordaeron. It's going to take you 2 years to get Shadowmourne on the server if you're trying to get Shadowmourne. And Retail, it took you 6 months or 6 weeks to farm the shards, maybe seven on average. On Lordaeron, we do 12 out of 12 8HC, and we are looking at usually one shard a week from Lich King, maybe two shards. The most I've seen was when I was selling the shards to some random guy, and he got really freaking lucky, and he bought them off of me for 3,000 gold each, and three dropped that week. So I got 9,000 gold. He got three shards, and I'd say he got the better deal. If I could buy shards at 3,000 gold each, I would buy that immediately. 3,000 gold is 6 coins, so it's like 18 coins for three shards. And even then, I'm saying like he had the better deal. Like that's 300 coins for a Shadowmourne, by the way, based on those gold rates, and people were offering even more than that. Yeah, Shadowmourne is fucked on the server, and you're probably never going to get Shadowmourne, is what I'm trying to say. So, anyways, I'm glad to give you some confirmation, give you some like proof and shit. This is stated from one of the guys. So yeah, it sucks. I know, but at least we have some proof and confirmation. We don't have to continue wondering if the rates are low, if the rates are reduced, if the rates are wrong. Um, yeah, the rates are reduced and they're intentional. The intended reason, though, I call cap. I call bullshit. The intended reason is not because they're not switching to Cataclysm. The intended reason, everybody knows the intended reason, is because Ice Crown wants to make money. And the biggest problem is Lordaeron uses the same exact coding as Ice Crown, for the most part, the same exact scripting, and they just have pretty much a few files or some shit, like a few documents that adjust boss values and shit. So it's essentially like the Lordaeron boss health pool and Lordaeron damage pool and whatnot. So the mechanics have a multiplier rate, right? So like 1.8 times health on this boss, 1.6 times health on that boss, etc. There's no special mechanics, no difference. It's just multipliers for the health values on Lordaeron, and no ICC buff. But for the most part, it uses the same exact codes, same exact shit, and they're not like making separate code for Lordaeron and Ice Crown. So they're uh, they're denying this like change. They're denying like making Lordaeron rates normal, and that's just because they can't, from a like creation standpoint, it would cost them extra labor and money, and they're not going to fork that out. That's a waste of money from a business perspective. Lordaeron can go fuck itself. Nobody plays on Lordaeron or cares about Lordaeron, so why would they even do it? And Lordaeron is a cost leader. Ice Crown's the cash cow. Why would you pay for something that isn't going to bring you money when Lordaeron is just there to like collect the players for Ice Crown? Like you get fed up with Lordaeron, you go back to Ice Crown. On that note, I think I've answered every possible like thing to question on this. If you guys hit that like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully you guys appreciate this and y'all can see me in the next one.